Thank you, friends. Shabbat shalom. Greetings to you all. And I have to say, yes, several of you were right. I ended last week with the Beatles classic, Hey Bulldog. One of two songs about pets. And a lot of people were moved by our pet tribute. Thank you. And please honor whatever has caused loss in your life on an ongoing basis. Hey, whether pets, friends, family, even dreams, my friends. We all suffer so many losses and often do not realize the extent of their effect. Loss is insidious. Now, I had a fantastic phone call earlier with an old friend who's been living abroad for many, many years. And she loves the show, but thought it would be great if I added some puppets. Well, you know, Leslie, I think it's a fantastic idea, and I will do my best. And I want you all to know that I was very fortunate the other day to get to spend some time with a rabbi friend of mine from New York who I truly admire. One with an incredibly amazing, all-inclusive approach to practice, who also sees no boundaries or divisions in people. We all simply are. And I got to sit in on one of his bar mitzvahs, and he does such a great job crafting the liturgy and music to include in each ceremony. It was magical and spellbinding. And the parsha being read was the one we will be looking at today, Lech Lecha, the emphatic double word calling, which in many ways will set the stage for an incredibly powerful Torah tool, not used with words, but with names. The double name calling, Genesis 22:11. And an angel of God called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. Exodus 3:4. The Lord saw that he had turned to see, and God called to him from within the thorn bush. And he said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Genesis 46:2. And God said to Israel in visions of the night, and he said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here I am. All three have God double name calling someone, and all three result in the same answer. Here I am. And even Exodus 34:6. And the Lord passed before him and proclaimed, Lord, Lord, benevolent God who is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and abundant in loving kindness and truth. God referring to himself, and for the first time, using what would become the most well-known formula for viewing God, the Maimonides' 13 attributes. These double name episodes emphasize a life-altering divine moment. And in this case here, we have emphasis of the verb, and it becomes a historic, divine, perhaps culturally defining moment. Go, you go! Genesis 12:1. And the Lord said to Abram, Go, you go forth from your land and your birthplace and your father's house to the land I will show you. And my friends, this statement foreshadows something God will say in a week when he orders the newly named Abraham to take your son, your only one, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah and make him a burnt offering there on one of the mountains that I'll say to you. Well, we've shifted to a book that no longer is concerned with cosmology. It's concerned with nations, families, and individuals, and to the struggles, hardships, angers, jealousies, fears, crises of faith, and feelings inherent therein. And that is something each of us can connect to. We each have fought to overcome our fears, and we're taught to celebrate that annually as the most important thing we can do. We have learned to forgive, to ask forgiveness, for it is the true cleansing mechanism, and we honor and celebrate it annually. And we have each wrestled with God, with faith and belief, and that can be something which comes and goes through our entire lives, and we have been shown there was always the hope of return. The exile from paradise was truly only temporary. It takes effort and determination to return to it. Now, the spiritual warfare and flesh and blood breaking down. You either got faith or you got unbelief, and there ain't no neutral ground. Abraham exercised faith and belief like Noah did. And I watched as the bar mitzvah boy told the age-old story, how Abraham did not believe in the multiple gods of his land, of Ur, but believed in only one God, and followed that voice. Now, well, that story is just that, a story. It's not biblical. It tells us, each of us, listen to that still, small voice that guides you, my friends. Believe in you. Believe you are being led in the right direction, to the right place, for you. We are all on a journey. Abram and his family are to journey to Canaan, and due to famine they must go to Egypt, Mitzrayim, confinement and fear. And that is what immediately rears itself, his fear that Sarai, his wife, because of her beauty, will be taken and he killed. So he lies. And his house of lies affects everyone around him. Genesis 12:4. And Abraham was 75 years old when he went out from Haran. He's old when he leaves, and so is his wife, and he leaves Haran, not Ur. It is somehow hard to connect this to the young, beautiful princess he fears will be taken from him. And so we have controversy. We have controversy over where he's really from. We have controversy over his name and his wife's name, which was Egyptian for our princess. We have controversy over the reason Sarai is taken as the wife of Pharaoh, and we have the lead up to the second of the covenants we talked of last week. And we will see the Abrahamic covenant in a week, and with it, a defining identifier of membership in the cult. And God will tell him, I will bless those who bless you, and those who damn you I will curse. And all of the clans of the earth through you shall be blessed. Well, friends, these words from God to Abraham are the same used by Balaam many, many generations later, when the sorcerer is hired to curse the Israelites. And he blesses them instead. And did you notice? It is for all the clans of the earth who will be blessed. Not all the Jews, but all the people. The one God of creation is still the one God of all people. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Unfortunately, we've gone off kilter, and we are preventing the fulfillment of that promise. We have to stop. Friends, do not be so territorial. A God who cannot be contained is certainly big enough to go around. Now, the introduction of the patriarch tales by this parsha and the next has as much in regard to human interaction as the first two did with cosmic events. So hold on tight, because Lech Lecha, go you go, or as I like to think of it, the Carl Perkins Go Cat Go parsha. We know the story, and we form quite the picture. Part 1, a young out to make good for himself with a new family, young Abram, who then finds himself going to a foreign country due to famine to get food to survive, like some descendants of his a few generations later. Pretends his wife is a sister so as not to be killed, which makes her available. Due to her good looks, ends up married to Pharaoh. And this is only one of 3 almost identical stories involving the wife-sister. Part 2 has this War of the Kings, a very strange story involving 9 kings and Abraham's nephew, after which he is perceived as this wealthy man on a huge piece of land that kind of makes the Ewings from Dallas and the Cartwrights from the Ponderosa look puny. And as the family head, he goes to his nephew and he says, hey, space isn't big enough that they should not quarrel, so they should separate, go in different directions. It just makes you wonder who we are reading about. Part 3, we see the first half of God's covenant with Abraham. We mentioned last week this would be the second of 4 covenants. Part 4 of this is a man who has no kids, so his wife gives him a slave girl to breed with. And she has a baby, and the wife drives her and the baby away. In part 5, God tells him the second half of the covenant, and he gets his name changed. It's almost as if there are several people merged into one, and it is the story of a continuing journey, a physical one and a spiritual one. And I wonder, my friends, why are lies so significant in so many of the stories we read? Say, please, that you are my sister, so that it will go well with me on your account, and I shall stay alive because of you. You know, there are commandments against lying. Why are the patriarch stories so dominated by lies and deceptions? Well, on the one hand, this may not have been a lie. See, the Egyptian period of Abraham's life has been under much study, and he may have come away from there with much more than we thought. And when he says, she is my sister, it may not be a lie, because in chapter 20 we are told that Sarah is actually Abraham's half-sister. But on another hand, it brought great hardship on Pharaoh. What is this you have done to me? He says. Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister so that I took her to me as a wife? Wow. She was wife to Pharaoh. It would appear the rule against adultery was already respected in Egypt. So this multi-part picture we form is a little different in reality. See, part one of it is really the reality of his life in Egypt. And part two, the reality is the setup of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's also the piece that provides the introduction of angels. Now, although we met them briefly during the Cosmic Tales, and we will see them again next week, we see the family head negotiates with God for the safety of people. The same guy who earlier was told, "Go, cat, go," and did so without as much as saying boo. We'll see next week the angels go to the nephew, and the local rowdies want them. So the nephew offers up his own daughters for rape instead, and then sleeps with his daughters himself. Boy, it just gets odder and odder. Part 4, we have Sarai said to Abram, "Come to bed with my slave girl. Perhaps I shall be built up through her." And Abram heeded the voice of Sarai. You've got to be kidding me. Happy wife, happy life, and the knife stays in the drawer. And friends, the word used, however, is not Pilegesh, but Isha, the same term that identifies Sarai at the beginning of the verse. I hate to tell you, but Hagar was his wife. Half of what I say is meaningless, but I say it just to reach you, Julia. And Hagar bore a son to Abram, and Abram called his son, whom Hagar had borne, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abraham. And friends, the setup for the younger to supersede the elder is now put in place again. An incident replayed in all the patriarch stories. Then this 2-week brief history of man ends next week with the most famous sacrifice in history, and the one that perhaps more than anything else defined a people. They just don't write stuff like this anymore. Who is this man? Friends, it's a great story. All journey stories are. We flock to them. The Odyssey, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Wizard of Oz, Jack and the Beanstalk, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Because, my friends, you have got to follow your heart wherever and whenever it leads. And all of us feel that urge. Oh, sometimes it ain't easy, boy, to roll out of bed and shake the cobwebs a-hanging from your head. But you were born to be in the human race, and if you don't start moving, you're going to finish in last place. You got to go, go, go. Go, cat. Go, cat, go. The world is sacred, my friends, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light continue to shine. Continue to send everyone you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Ask questions. Don't take because as an answer. See what lies in front of you and break free of the dogma. Change your way of thinking. Follow the call of freedom. The journey is yours to enjoy. Some folks travel for pleasure. Other folks just born to roam. Some folks can't stand the pressure. Some of them never come home. I only go where I have to go, and I only come home when I'm done. And if everything's right, then I'll be home Friday night, 6 hours ahead of the sun. Thank you all. Love you. See you all next time. And I do love seeing you all again. And remember, your wishes do come true. Bless you all. Have a fantastic week. Thank you for joining me. Shabbat shalom. Take care. Bye.